stress heavy on my brain. She keeps playing silly games, and I'm about to bring the pain. We seem to fuss and fight every day and every night. Please give some advice so we can see the light. See the light. If you really put it with all your energy, strength, and vitality, especially the passion to comprehend something which mankind has lived with fear for millennia upon millennia, then you are giving a passionate, feeling attention to the cause. When you give such burning attention, the cause is burnt away.
Man, Krishnamurti, man. I know, maybe you guys are not as into the brother as I am, but I love him to death. Andy be laughing every time he hears his voice. It's a little slurry. He was old when some of these videos were recorded. But he speaks very powerfully about the human condition, relationships, and what we call psychological bondage. Now, tonight's topic is, the final one in this series that we did this week. Yes, it was a series. And it fits right into what Murti is speaking. Well, they call him K, right? That's his followers refer to him as K. This topic is dealing with a lot of folks, right? Is saving face really just the mask that we wear in spiritual ICU, intensive care unit? What do we mean by that? Is saving face, in essence, merely the mask we wear in the spiritual intensive care unit? There's such a thing as narcissistic collapse. When that mask gets tugged on, when that mask gets revealed, right? What tends to happen is there's a collapse because first and foremost, many people that have heavy narcissistic tendencies are unaware, unconscious of them, right? They're unaware that that's how they are. They think the way they are is normal and everybody else is crazy, right? So not only when the mask gets tugged and pulled at and exposed, it's exposed to them. There's a deep shame wound that is triggered. And again, oh my God, they have to retreat in some way. And maybe even just for a moment, because not only are you aware of their mask, but they become aware of their mask. Is saving face, having to save face, using it as a defense mechanism. Let me just pull back for a second. Is saving face in essence merely the mask we wear in the spiritual intensive care unit? Lord have mercy. Woo! Is saving face a lifeline or a trap for the narcissistically vulnerable? 1-800-920-1580. Get to your phone lines. Research in narcissistic personality dynamics indicates that the maintenance of a false self may temporarily shield us from criticism, yet it predisposes us to catastrophic identity collapse when external pressures unmask our vulnerabilities. Can anybody say Drake? Say Drake. I'm sorry. Right? Or anybody else who thinks what they've accumulated is the sum total of who they are. See, again, when you're internally broken, your external world matters more than anything else. What you have, how you look, the way you present to others, how you leverage what you have to control others. Do you understand what I'm saying? Do you see? So sometimes it's very difficult for people to step into this fallback mode, which is saving face. Now, we all know the definition of what it means to save face. It's kind of in that moment to capitulate, reminiscent of the art of war. Sometimes retreat, right, saves your soldiers. Sometimes it saves you can retreat in a small battle and then come back for a larger one, right? Sometimes retreating is good. But saving face, many people do it as a defense mechanism for being exposed. Have you seen it in intimate relationships? Have you seen it? According to Merriam-Webster's unabridged English dictionary, the idiom save face is a phrasal verb that means to preserve one's reputation or to avoid having others lose respect. I got to save face. This happens in intimate relationships often, many times, right? See, let me tell you something. Many people got relationships inverted. What do you mean, Zoe? You get into a relationship for relationship benefits. Let's just keep it a buck. You want benefits from a person, whether it's sexual, whether it's companionate. You want benefits. Whether it's financial, you want benefits. Whether it's psychological, your wounds want some type of supply. You're in it for benefits, right? But let me explain something to you. This is why I say relationships are inverted. You don't get the benefits you desire until you become the desire. Until you become what you want. Until you conquer the self. Until you deal with the ego. Until you deal with the wounds, you don't get the benefits. You may get superficial benefits. Oh, we went to a nice restaurant. They had gumbo that was reminiscent of our time down in the French Quarter. It was amazing. Superficial benefits. But over time, the you that has been hiding behind the persona will leak out and be exposed, and it will cause you and your partner to have some consternation. And that's going to tell you the quality of the relationship, how you deal with it, right? Does the mask we wear secure our social identity, or ensure our ultimate anonymity in authenticity. Ooh, I know y'all not ready for that. Neuroscientific studies reveal that habitual facade maintenance activates neural pathways that inhibit genuine self-awareness, leaving us emotionally isolated despite apparent social connectivity. I'm telling you, I see living mannequins walking around. They're living their best life on IG. I'm looking at living mannequins. Because if you're not doing Krishnamurti said it yourself. He said it himself. If you don't heal what's within you, what happened in the past, who told you that you weren't enough? If you don't heal all of that, he said, you're an adult second-hand person. You're an adult second-hand person because the narrative that molded you is your primary directive internally. Eesh. Can the act of saving face be a form of spiritual sabotage? Let me retreat before I ruin this relationship and ruin my supply source. 1-800-920-1580, clinical observations and trauma bonding. Research suggests that clinging to a constructed identity prevents deep inner work, perpetuating a cycle of self-betrayal and hindering authentic spiritual growth. 1-800-920-1580. Is the illusion of saving face a catalyst for interpersonal disintegration and narcissistic collapse? No. Let me boomerang it. Let me boomerang that one more time. Is the illusion of saving face a catalyst for interpersonal disintegration and narcissistic collapse? Here's the empirical insight on that. Attachment theory and self-psychology research illustrate that preserving an inauthentic self creates relational instability, setting the stage for a dramatic breakdown when the facade inevitably fractures. When does the need to save face become a roadblock to true self-integration? Most of us are only saving face because we're trying to save a source. It's coming, trying to save a source, trying to save a resource. Let me save face so I don't lose the source of my supply or the resources. I don't know if you're ready for tonight's topic. Huh? When does the need to save face become a roadblock to true self-integration, self-congruence? If you are not on the path of self-integration, you're a damn liar in your relationships. Your mask is your truth, but your mask is rooted in the Sanskrit term Maya, an illusion, an ideal, a concept, an image. You're a damn liar. And guess what? You can spend 5-10 years lying to yourself. Lying to your partner, and it could be relatively benign and a good relationship. But the moment the fracture happens, destroy the image, you destroy the man. Or woman, for that matter. 1-800-920-1580. Somebody get to your phone lines. I know you've experienced it before. Studies in self-actualization and humanistic psychology consistently show that chronic inauthenticity disrupts emotional integration, fostering long-term psychological distress and internal fragmentation. Boy, when the outside is more put together than the inside, it ain't gonna take long for you to recognize the fissures that are in the soul. 1-800-920-1580. I'm so damn tired of everybody else being the problem and your answer. Listen, I need you to hear. They're your problem and they're your answer. If you would just act right, if you would just show up right, if you would just shift to the left a little bit, because my wounds, they exist on the left side of my spirit. If you could just listen, I'm not here to heal you. That's a DIY job. Do it yourself, right? When you heal and I'm healing at the same time, and we're working on ourselves as vigorously or even more so vigorously than we're trying to work on the relationship might survive. It is the lack of self-work that disintegrates the relationship. Does the mask of saving face create a false sense of security that conceals deeper insecurities? Social learning theory and empirical evidence on defense mechanisms indicate that repetitive face-saving behaviors reinforce maladaptive neural circuits, deepening underlying fears and insecurities. Listen, the voice of reason is not playing with you tonight. When I come forward, the voice of reason invites you to speak with me, to join this mutual discussion, this dialogue. We must have it when I come forward. We got a lot to talk about. Yo, what up, what up, what up, what up? Let's all hit that like button. If you guys like the setup so far, let's all hit that like button. And again, like I said before, we participate in here. Get on the phones, call us. There is no profanity, okay? This is live terrestrial radio, live from Los Angeles, California. Listen, terrestrial radio, no profanity. All right? This topic ripping faces off for real. Let's go. Victory is non-negotiable. Let's go, let's go, let's go. Everybody hit the like button. The like button is free. We just had somebody throw us some support. Sophisticated Shorty. Let me send you love for that. Everybody, please like. And if you can love her her donation, her super chat, man, I'm thankful. I'm grateful that you're in here. I hope the content is inspiring us all to participate in some way, shape, or form. I just asked everybody to hit that like button and nobody responded. That is unacceptable. Listen, if you're getting something out of this, you got to give something to it. And the fact that you could be here and not reciprocate, that's letting me know the state of your relationships. Because this is a damn relationship. You with me with you, the content, the viewership, the participation, the conversation. Let's talk. 1-800-920-1580. 1-800-920-1580. Moderators assemble. Please put the phone number in there, please. No cursing. Dag nabbit, doggone it. Thank you, moderators. 1-800-920-1580. Who sows sparingly shall reap sparingly. Oh, biblical. Darn tootin' twos. back.
Chronic shame is one of the most complex, corrosive, and immobilizing emotions. It often underlies pain, anxiety, and depression. Shame is like a cancer, like a tumor that grows from the injury of trauma and the wound of betrayal. This interpersonal trauma becomes deeply lodged in the body-mind and then metastasizes, infecting all aspects of a person's life. They include a loss of connection with our authentic, spontaneous self, as well as with our basic sense of goodness, rightness, and belonging in the world. I believe that there are two main sources of toxic shame. The first is when we're traumatized, abused, and humiliated as young children. We experience this as an overall sense of badness. Badness that something is fundamentally wrong with us. The second is the fear that comes from being ostracized from a group. And this can happen at different ages. For a young child, it's as though the only way we can make sense of how poorly we've been treated, how we've been mistreated, especially by those who are supposed to take care, cherish, and love us, is to lay the blame on our own badness. In other words, the way that we try to make sense of this is to somehow assume that we were the cause of that abuse and that shaming and that humiliation. And this allows the child to imagine that they have some small modicum of control in an otherwise incontrollable situation.
Hey, listen, the man is cooking with the rarest truffle oils, okay? There's garlic, there's chives. The man's ingredients are top shelf in what he's saying. He's cooking, okay? Clarified, salted butter, it's all there. He's cooking, okay? But I want you to understand something. Relationships can only be one of two things in terms of the manifestation of it for you. It could either be a hellish university, right, that is rife with conflicts, emphasis on university, the university of you, where it is difficult and hard, right? Or it can be a heaven where it can cultivate unconditional love. Now, in both situations, whatever you're experiencing is being mirrored. The person you call in mirrors what you've earned, right? What you've learned about yourself, what you've learned and earned, what you've cultivated, right? They represent your current level of development. Now, you can start this self journey where you're beginning the healing process. That's beautiful. You're going to rise in vibrational frequency and you're going to call in, someone that matches that. Two aspects or two manifestations of the same mirroring aspect. The more you heal yourself, the better your relationship becomes. Remember, your external relationship is the effect of the cause that lives within your internal relationship, intrapersonal relationship versus interpersonal. So, again, the quality of your relationship with self determines the quality of your relationship with others, right? Somebody just said it right here. They said, saving face isn't the same thing as taking accountability. I just saw somebody in the chat who said that. taking accountability is not trying to save something. Like, let me save my respect, or let me save myself from embarrassment. Let me save this. Let me save. Do you see? Could the ritual of saving face be the hidden engine behind societal conformity and emotional alienation? All you got to do is listen to Drake's new album. He's saving face the whole album. Talking about he's still relevant. Listen, if you're in a battle with Kendrick, what you need to do, you lose. Okay, you lost. Kendrick destroyed you. This is what you need to do. I'm saying this as a former A&R, right? For Madonna, for Steve Rifkin, Loud Records, Madonna's label, Maverick Records. This is what you do. You lost. So number one, you got to go back to making great records. Just great music. Not cliche music, not KISS, keep it simple, stupid music, not pandering music, because Kendrick already covered it when he says, I make music that electrifies him. You make music that pacifies. So don't do that. Don't go to, what you should do is go the self-reflective route, the self-redemption route. Right? Because he went back to a formula that he tries to use, right? Which is the girls and the party and boy, redemption. I lost. I didn't think I was going to lose. You know why? Because I underestimated this man. He's better than I thought he was. Do you see? That's taking accountability. Saving face is what he did. What are you going to do? Have him in the club twerking while reading the dictionary? That's what the man said. Now you're attacking intellect? When we come forward, the voice of reason going to keep cooking.
He's on fire tonight.
Ooh. Who's calling in tonight? Can I get you guys to call in tonight? We got 50 people on right now. Can everybody hit the like button? Reflect on thy own opinion. I love that. That's good, man. What up, Roman Rogers? Appreciate you for tapping in tonight, man. Thank you for chiming in. You take calls in, right? But does it have to be about random stuff or a certain topic? We're on a certain topic, JH. We're talking about saving face. That's the topic we're on. You're more than welcome to call in and chime in on the topic. What you're listening to right now is the setup. I ask questions. I have empirical insights. I ask questions to frame the topic so you can have a foundational understanding of the nuance embedded in the topic, right? So I just want you to be fully informed regarding what I'm talking about, right? And then you can be able to formulate your thoughts and opinions on it. So again, if you want to call in, you're more than welcome to do so. The number to dial is 1-800-920-1580. Saving Face Talk. I swear I'm not a fan, but Beyonce do got nice beats. Jack Brazen. Sometimes they land. Sometimes they land. 1-800-920-1580. Get to your phone lines. Get ready, get ready, get ready, get ready. I don't listen to hip hop too often, so I'm not going to. Well, the topic is not about hip hop, even though I'm using a hip hop current event as an example for what I'm framing. So maybe you have opinions too soon, and you probably didn't come in at the top of the show. You haven't been listening to the whole show. So don't jump to conclusions and kind of frame it around just what you just heard. But if you don't call in, that's fine too. All right. Listen, I understand YouTube, Instagram, all of these places are chat driven. People like to chat, but sometimes it's best to come in and kind of, read the room and get a deeper understanding of what's being laid out before you respond. I know that's just the natural proclivity for being in a chat is to talk, is to say something. You know what I mean? So sometimes just take your time, take in what's happening, and then, slowly integrate yourself into the conversation if, in fact, you have something of merit to say. Hello from France, Nixon. And anybody who comes in asking what the topic is, moderators, please help them. Been stream hopping tonight, so that's why I'm a bit out of the loop. Ain't nothing wrong with that, JH. Nothing but love, nothing but respect to you. Just, I'm asking you, for me, do me a favor. I just met you. Just do me a favor. Give me a little time. Give me 3 or 4 minutes of just listening so you can pick up the actual essence of what the topic is. Because I'm constantly restating the topic. I'm constantly asking questions with the topic in it. Right? So just give yourself a moment to kind of acclimate to the room. Okay? Victory is non-negotiable. Oh, that's Nazarene. Okay, let us know what you think about the term saving face. All right. Everybody, please continue to hit the like button. We have 10 more people in here than we have likes. We generally like to get people to participate in the liking and the sharing and the subscribing. And we also try to get people to call in. So we're 35 minutes into the show. It's a 2-hour show. It's going to fly quickly, especially when callers call in. Okay. The number to dial to call in, no profanity, 1-800-920-1580, 1-800-920-1580, 1-800-920-1580. Oh, I see. Y'all not playing tonight. Thank you, guys. We're 2 people away from our quota here. We got 47 people and 45 likes. None but love. Love, love, love. We appreciate it. We're about to come back right now. That was our longest break. 30 seconds. Mm. Mm-hmm.
A major obstacle to self-knowledge, and in turn to a flourishing life, is the tendency of one part of our minds to lie to the other. We lie for what might initially seem like a very understandable reason, because we want to avoid pain. But in so doing, we hugely damage our chances of happiness. There are 4 things we particularly like to lie to ourselves about. We lie about all the problematic aspects it would take so much effort to alter: our jobs, our relationships, our friendships, our health, our habits and ideas. We lie because we need to think well of ourselves and are devoted to imagining that we are essentially normal, without peculiar loves, hates and deviant thoughts. We lie because we don't want to feel so inadequate, and yet because we lack so many good things. We lie because we're furious with certain people we're supposed to love, and we lie because what we're furious about feels so minor and pathetically petty for a grown-up to care about. Given how risky the truth about us can feel, we've had to learn to be masters of deception. Our techniques are wide-ranging, devilish, and often hugely imaginative. Here are some of the leading maneuvers we employ to pull the wool over our own eyes. We identify something that can powerfully keep our thoughts away from troubling inner confrontations. Online pornography is a favourite, the news another, alcohol a third, work a fourth. We don't so much like these elements in and of themselves. We like them for their ability to keep us away from what we fear. A sadness we haven't been able...
Okay, I don't know what the tech is, but it's fine. They drop in science, though. Everything he's describing about how we lie to ourselves, this is what makes interpersonal relationships go down the pathway to hell. See, hell is characterized, before Dante's Inferno's breakdown and definition of hell, right? There was no fiery pit, right? It was Dante's Inferno that actually described hell, right? Limbo and the 7 levels of hell and all of this and that or whatever. That was Dante's Inferno, right? And it's interesting that later on the Catholic Church integrated Dante's Inferno, or Dante's description of hell, right, into the Bible. So what's very interesting is they used fire. Now, fire represents something very powerful, right? Represents something very powerful. Fire always represents spirit. Water represents emotion and unconscious. When the world was destroyed the first time in the Bible, it was destroyed first by water, emotion and unconscious. The water always represents the subconscious. So when you see Jung's work and he talks about the tip of the pyramid and then what's beneath, not the pyramid, but the iceberg, tip of the iceberg, and then what's beneath the iceberg is way more massive. So water represents the unconscious. The children of Israel were unconscious. They lost consciousness of who the true God was because they were in distress, right? They thought Moses got them out of Egypt, but it wasn't enough. They were supposed to go to the promised land. They were in distress. So they lost consciousness and then reverted back to their old ways. God had to destroy it by water. Destroyed the world by water. Interesting, right? Well, when the world gets destroyed again, wait, I mixed 2 stories. Wait. Coming out of Egypt is one story. Being destroyed by water is the other story. There I am. Sorry. When the world is destroyed again, it'll be destroyed by fire. Why fire? Because fire represents spirituality. When fire hits something, it destroys everything. It breaks it down to its fundamental element, to its foundational element. It actually physically changes it forever, right? So when we talk about a restart, a reset, usually fire is in play, right? Does that make sense? Okay, good. So could the ritual of saving face be the hidden engine behind societal conformity and emotional alienation? Empirical insight, cross-cultural research in social psychology demonstrates that face-saving practices, though evolutionary adaptive, often suppress individuality and impede authentic emotional expression. So what's happening is when people get into these relationships, they have presented the tip of their iceberg. not the truth of who they are. The mask is the tip of the iceberg. They keep what is subconscious hidden, right? They perform, they listen, they mimic, is performative empathy, performative concern, care, all of that, and because they ultimately want something, right? But in order to get to a higher state of consciousness, the fire of the soul must consume the wounds that were created in early childhood. Are you following? Whatever wounds that were created in early childhood must be consumed by the fire of self-awareness. Self-awareness is very difficult to achieve. Why? Because it hurts to look back at the first hurts that made you who you are. It hurts to look back at the first hurts that made you who you are. Do you understand? Is the price of saving face the gradual erosion of our capacity for empathy and deep connection? 1-800-920-1580, get to your phone lines. Empirical insight. Interpersonal neurobiology studies reveal that inauthentic self-presentation not only dampens empathetic responses, but also undermines the formation of profound, meaningful relationships. Right? What happens when the mask of saving face finally crumbles? Can vulnerability spark redemption? That's what I spoke of earlier before we came forward. Drake rap about redemption, rap about humility. It shows growth. That's one of the biggest critiques against the young man. He's been the same artist for the last 15 years. He hasn't grown. You can't still be at the club at 38. But he says it and he doubles and triples and quadruples down on all of the things. Now, Kendrick is trending, or his Euphoria record is trending as prophetic. Do you see? Saving face is about protecting the ego, the image, right? Many of us would rather our partner date, love, and marry that image, because the pain of them dating the real flawed you comes with triggering the shame wound. Many people don't want to be triggered in that way. Does the pursuit of saving face deny us the opportunity for radical, unapologetic self-expression? Saving face is not the same as taking accountability, right? Evidence from humanistic and existential psychology underscores that relinquishing the facade is essential for cultivating true self-expression, which in turn fosters long-term psychological resilience. Listen, this society lacks resilience. It gets hard, we leave. We get triggered, we bounce. Does that make sense? Saving face is not merely a social convention, but a high-stakes performance, a mask concealing our inner vulnerabilities in the spiritual ICU of our being. Drawing on Carl Jung's mask theory and contemporary insights into narcissism, this tonight's exploration challenges the facade that protects our ego while imprisoning our authentic selves. It questions whether our curated identities, built through social conditioning and fear of rejection, serve as a lifeline against narcissistic collapse, or as a profound betrayal of our true nature. Through incisive inquiry, tonight's topic, we will try to dissect how inauthenticity and trauma bonding feed into a cycle where the relentless need to persevere to preserve our image transforms into a debilitating crisis where the mask inevitably cracks, blending empirical evidence, clinical insights, and metaphysical perspectives. We're going to keep cooking y'all up tonight. You got a curated identity, you trying to save face, and you want to be in a relationship. When we come forward, we're going to explore even further. Where y'all at? Y'all need 30 minutes? Y'all need 50 minutes? Selective vulnerability, that's the topic. Mm-hmm. Are we on? Where my people at? It's 50 people in here. Can I get some people to say hello? Can I get some people to say, what's happening, Zoe? Put up a thumbs up if you're enjoying the content tonight. People are the choices they make. Hawk. Okay. That first hour flew, right? Yeah. Brain rot. What up? Digital zombies in the mix. What up? Take over 9. What up? I see y'all in here. Everybody hit that like button. Sophisticated Shorty. Good to see you. Thank you for your support. You're the only one who's done it tonight, but it's so good to see that you're in here. I hope this information is making sense. What up, Kevin Taylor? What up? Right. What up? Salute to you, Zoe. I apologize for not speaking first. No, it ain't nothing but love, brother. Torian Howard, good to see you. Thank you.
My patients, particularly with people that are in public life, that they have a certain way of presenting themselves. For instance, take the doctor. He has a certain way. For instance, he has good bedside manners, and he behaves as one expects a doctor behaves. He may even identify himself with it and believe that he is what he appears to be. And so when he is a professor, he's also supposed to behave in a certain way so that it is plausible that he is a professor. So the persona is a certain complicated system of behavior which is partially dictated by society and partially dictated by the expectations or the wishes one nurses oneself. Now, this is not the real personality. In spite of the fact that people will assure that is all quite real and quite honest, yet it is not.
That was Carl Jung himself, if I'm not mistaken. That was the Carl Jung speaking. I'm tired. I'm an INFJ. Okay? I think that's what I am. INFJ. That's me. Listen, I'm caught in the movie. You guys remember the movie They Live? God gave me these eyes, and I see, like those special glasses that people put on in that movie to reveal the aliens. That's how I see. People are walking around like living mannequins. And I know it's a difficult thing. Listen, it's difficult for you to be who you are. Carl Jung just explained it. It's difficult for you to be you, right? I get it. But you must overcome whatever fear of rejection. It's difficult, but you must overcome. You must become you. Self-realization is part of self-actualization, right? It's part of transcending the self altogether. You can't transcend the self until you've accepted the self. And just to go back really quickly, I had brain flatulence. I was telling two stories. I was telling one story, the Exodus out of Egypt from the Bible, and then the other story was Noah, the flood, right? But the metaphor was clear. The metaphor was simple. You know, unconsciousness, water. That's what water represented. I was talking about the elements as they manifested in the Bible. Water destroyed the planet. That was unconsciousness in the beginning. Everything had to be wiped away, right? The people were crazy. The people were wild. Everything had to be wiped away by water. Wickedness, right? Water did that. When it happens again, it's going to be done by fire, which deals with transformation. But to go back to my point that Carl was making, what do I do now that I have identified the mask I wear? Line it up with what Carl Jung was saying. If our identity is constructed largely through social interaction, how much of saving face is preserving the self versus maintaining a collective illusion? Have you ever been in a real argument with your woman or with your husband, with your wife, with your woman, whatever, husband, wife, and you get to a point of anger that they've never seen before, and then they tell you, I don't even know you anymore? Who are you? See, we don't live in real relationships because we're not our real selves. Most of us are animals. Let's just be honest. What makes us an animal? Disconnection from God. Where is God found? In self-realization. That's when you realize the persona that you are, the mask, right? That's when you realize that's not really me. I'm even bigger and more expansive than, oh, I'm one with Source. And then you start to not take your identity and what formed it so seriously. That's part of the healing process. Could the mask we wear Oh my God. To protect ourselves from judgment actually be the very thing that that ensures we remain unseen. Could the mask make us invisible? Oh my goodness. Is the need to save face an unconscious admission of spiritual fraudulence where ego masquerades as self-actualization? 1-800-920-1580. If authenticity is the ultimate currency of human connection, does saving face make us spiritually bankrupt? When I come forward, you think I'm gonna stop cooking? Wrong. And then the playlist is hella crazy, right? The playlist is goofy as hell right now. Hey, is the playlist bananas? Can y'all hear the music? I know. See, normally, this is the behind the scenes. I got to let you guys know. This is the behind the scenes, right? If you go to KBLA's YouTube page, you'll be able to hear the music. Like, you'll be able to hear it, right? But the playlist is crazy because it's that fantasy, insecure attachment style, writing style, and everything that we're talking about is actually manifesting itself in the records that are being played. I don't know. I don't know. Can everybody hit the like button and don't be afraid to support the channel, okay? Don't be afraid to support the channel. We got $25 on the YouTube right now. There's a little dollar sign at the bottom of the chat. That little dollar sign is the super chat. It is a feature that YouTube offers the content creators as well as those who frequent their shows to do live, real-time donations and support. So if you guys would like to support this channel, if you like the content, please support. I'd appreciate it. Or you could go to my Cash App, $ZoWhatNetter. My moderators are putting that in there. I don't know what you mean, Nixon.
Mama's baby, daddy's maybe.
I just have so many questions I want to ask you.
What?
I'm pregnant. Betrayal has been committed. How does he maintain his humposity?
I like it when it pinches the nip.
Why can't you open up, brother?
I'm a karate man. Karate man rules on the inside. They don't show their weaknesses.
How do you write
Spread it
names
out.
so well?
So William, reason and accountability. The voice of reason.
We spoke last night about how losing the connection to ourselves in childhood is responsible for many of our problems as adults. Could you give us a bit of an idea of how that happens?
Well, when I talk about connection to oneself, I'm talking about something very simple, which is an organism's capacity to know what it feels and to be able to emotions that are appropriate to the present moment. And without that capacity, you can't survive. If an animal does not have a connection to itself, so it doesn't know what it feels, when it feels it can't respond to a threat, it's going to be dead. Same with human beings throughout our evolution. So when I talk about being connected to ourselves, I'm talking about actually knowing what we feel and experience in a given moment and being able to interpret that appropriately. Without that capacity, we're lost. Now, we're born with that capacity. You never met an infant who's not connected to their gut feelings. By the time you talk to adults, you find many people who even when they have their gut feelings, they ignore them. So there's something happens between infancy and adulthood that disconnects us. Now what is that? What that is the need for acceptance by our environment. If our environment cannot support our gut feelings and our healthy emotions, then the child, in order to belong and fit in, will automatically, unwittingly and unconsciously repress or suppress their emotions and their connection to themselves. For the sake of...
Ooh, that's Gabor, right? He is cooking. See, we were born to a family. Do you know what a family's primary job is to do? It's to love, sure. It's to accept, sure. But it's also to teach you, right, that you can stand on your own, that you are enough. Yes, you're born to a family. And yes, we want connectivity because we're born into a family. But part of a family's, a good family, a healthy family, part of their responsibility is to teach spiritual self-efficacy, spiritual self-worth, spiritual self-esteem. Do you understand? A part of your mother and father's job, and I know nobody ever said this, right? Maybe this is the recontextualization of parenting. You have to teach your child, listen, intrapersonal skills. Does that make sense? Intrapersonal skills. Who you are, right? Yes, you're born to us and you're modeled by us, but that's not who you are. Molded by us, but that's not who you are. You're who you say you are, right? Imagine if you're dealing with parents that are transparent about their flaws. Son, I cheated on your mother. Son, I lack emotional regulation skills. I'm a hothead. I got anger issues. Imagine, right? Transparency. Take the mask off, right? Imagine, and I'm not talking about myself. I'm talking about, do you understand? I'm saying, what if a parent did that as part of, this is how you grow up. This is how you understand how to differentiate. You know, yes, you love me because I'm your father or I'm your mother. Yes, but I'm flawed and I'm still working on me, right? My mom did A, B, C, and D to me, and that's a part of my spirit, and that's a part of your molding, and I've been trying to undo this work while raising you, but I also have to make you aware of the hidden hand that might be raising you, right? Does it, you see, imagine that kind of parenting. That's how I raised my children. I told them who I was. I kept them tapped in to my progress, where I was failing and where I was excelling. You see? Because again, most of us are silent. Most of us put our parents on a pedestal, even if they're not good people, right? We find something redemptive about them and we love them, or we hate them and try to be the reverse, the inverse of them. But there's still a wound there. There's still something there that makes us feel a bit off, right? If authenticity is the ultimate currency of human connection, does saving face make us spiritually bankrupt? Is it possible that we cling to the mask not to deceive others, but because we fear we are nothing without our mask. My goodness. What if the pain of removing the mask is only unbearable because we've worn it for so long that we've mistaken it for our skin? 1-800-920-15. I know you don't want to hear this. If we are rewarded more for being palatable than for being authentic, what incentives exist, which is transactionalism, what incentives exist for true self-revelation? Does the fear of losing social capital explain why even those who claim to reject performative living still engage in spiritual grandstanding? Come on! Let's go to Hawaii. John, Mountain View, Hawaii. What are your thoughts on tonight's topic, my friend?
Greetings and blessings, chat, and anyone within the sound of my voice. Brother, I love you for this topic, and I give you a short story on the reason why.
Come on, let's go.
The short story is, I live on an island. It's called Hawaii, but it is remnants of what life is. Lava flow.
Ooh, come on.
It comes not only to destroy, but expand. But in the pureness of its destruction is still life. If you've ever stood in a lava flow and looked across the span of it, you will still identify life in it. I have a photograph that resembles the whole spectrum of what I just said. A tree grows from a lava flow that has been there petrified for years. This is you. You will go through this beautiful struggle called life. It will, slowly but surely, tear off all the masks, all the things that are impure. It'll ruin it. And what will stand will be the pureness of you, if you stand still.
Wow. Are you saying the fire of life is designed to purify us?
And God said, let there be light.
Come on, Pastor John. The fire of life is supposed to purify us.
This beautiful struggle is supposed to get you to the place where you're supposed to be. If you're a faithful servant to it, then you will allow what life happens in life, or you will fight against the current, and then it will take you under and deeper.
Wow. That hurts.
But you still survive it. You still survive it.
Excuse me. Wow. So
when this life ends, you'll realize that this is only the beginning or the end of this one and stepping into a new one. Are you ready?
No one's ready.
Get ready.
But excuse me. No one's ready, bro. And let me tell you why.
But I understand. We didn't get the blueprint. Nobody told us this story. Nobody told us what we were supposed to be really living in this life.
Wow.
But again, your best lessons come from your hardest times. And 100% of the time, you survive it.
But nobody wants to go through that. Nobody wants to go through those lessons. The lessons are fire. They burn. They hurt. Nobody wants that.
No one wants it.
But that's why I said
what can you do to stop it?
Nothing.
Enjoy.
So, okay, well, as a father, how do you teach resilience then? Thank you.
And as a father, how do I teach resilience?
Yes, because that seems to be lacking.
The unfortunate thing is just like anything else in life. Again, we want to protect our children, but are we supposed to protect our children from the things they choose?
Or are we
Ooh.
supposed to be the hedge of protection that they're supposed to go through whatever situation they go through and learn the resilience themselves and the capacity that it takes for them to go through it and survive it and be better from it? Because it's not the problem or the choice or the situation. You're just supposed to acknowledge you're still good.
I'm okay. I'm enough. I matter.
But you'll only understand that when you go through something.
No, but for many people, it's the reverse, John. When they go through something, they have these feelings that they're not enough because it triggers what happened in the past. Whatever is unreconciled
Because
gets triggered.
you identify with those things of the past and not the things of where you stand. Who are you? Are you still here? Do you have a left or a right to deal with? You can continue to be punched and stay there and suffer the punches, or you can become resilient, start bobbing. You can continue to fight with somebody, or you can stop fighting.
Come on, I hear it.
Your growth is your growth, and you will get this mastery when you get this mastery. Your place is your place, and God put you there for that good reason.
But what about free will? What if I choose to opt out, drop out? A lot of people drop out of the University of You, which I call relationship. They drop out because it's too hard, it's too difficult, because ultimately they're only focused on what they want to receive. They're not really focused on being what they're asking for. So what if you drop out? Do you have to come back here?
To the lava flow, sir.
Back to the lava flow.
Beautiful struggle that life is going to be. Slowly and surely, it will still get to you.
Wow. You got to come back?
You'll return to this.
So this is what the Hindus meant when they talked about karma.
You'll return back to this.
No. You're 100% right. This is what the Hindus meant when they talked about samsara. Right? The samsara, the endless cycle of life, death, and rebirth. So you opt out. They said, that's all right. You just opted into your next life. This lesson will just transfer over.
Welcome to your purgatory.
Wow. So you can live in a multi-life limbo if you just keep exercising your free will to not accept these lessons?
Or finally shrug your shoulders and say, I surrender.
Let me just do the work. Okay, right.
Let me get into this.
Wow. Truemonger called it the relationship transfer portal. Let me. Ain't no spiritual NIL deals. Wow. What? Oh, that's big right there. Hey, man, guess what you just did, Pastor John?
Mountain View's in the house. God bless you all.
Yo, Mountain View is in the building. If you want to bring your city in the building, all you got to do is call me at 1-800-920-1580, man. Saving face functions not merely as a social nicety, but as a critical defense mechanism, particularly for individuals whose self-worth hinges on the fragile scaffolding of a carefully constructed and manicured persona. In narcissistic structures, the mask we wear serve as both armor and refuge, a protective facade that guards against the shattering force of perceived inadequacy and external criticism. When that mask is threatened with exposure, the resulting collapse can feel akin to a complete dissolution of identity, a narcissistic collapse, where the idealized self crumbles under the weight of its own contradictions. At its core, Saving face is an adaptive strategy designed to ward off the unbearable dissonance between the idealized self and the raw, unfiltered truth. Many of us cannot stand the truth, the raw, unfiltered truth of who we actually are. Right? When you're saving face, you're in self-protective mode. You're literally saving your mask from crumbling. Right? This defense mechanism, right? Or well, back to the narcissism, where the self is elevated to a near sacred status, right? Any crack in the facade is intolerable. This defense mechanism has its root in early developmental experiences. As children, we learn that unconditional acceptance is scarce, and the internalization of a perfect image becomes essential to secure external validation. If this is you, I know you're participating in saving face. We've got work to do. When we come forward, the voice of reason will continue cooking up this fire. No, I'm good. Last line of defense is saving. Wow. All right, we only had one call in an hour and 20 minutes. That's crazy. Is anybody calling in? Is anybody else calling in? I appreciate the call from my good brother because he cooked, Pastor John. Watching from UK, Wales. What up, what up, what up? People are just running, but you can't run from yourself. I literally had a sneeze attack on the damn radio for no fucking reason. I'm like, what happened? It felt like something flew up my nose, started sneezing. I'm great, actually. Live in 30. Thanks for asking. I used to backflip for sure, but I can't. Not no more. Ladies and gentlemen, the VOR is on complete fire tonight. You should already know what it is, man. My playlist is my co-host. And I love playing music from all genres, all spaces and places. But these songs actually fit into the topic. Okay? Our relationships have a couple of manifestations. When I say manifestations, I'm talking about a road. Envision a road, a fork in the road. We can either go to heaven together, be each other's safe space, or we can go to hell together, be each other's learning space. Have you ever heard people say their most difficult relationships were their most educative? That's where they learned the most, right? Sometimes the good, healthy relationships, you don't learn as much. Sometimes. That isn't to say you don't learn anything, but those hard lessons, right? Those difficult lessons sear something into your spirit that, you never really forget those lessons and the people that taught you those lessons, right? In order to have a healthy relationship, and I've said this before, one must become self-conscious, self-aware, right? Being self-aware is very difficult in this society because this society predicates everything on accumulation, on success, on resources, on who you are, what you have, where you came from, what you're about. And it doesn't even matter if you have a wealth of narcissistic traits. Doesn't matter. You'll still be accepted. You'll still be tolerated. But the purpose of relationships, spiritual, reflective, there's mirroring going on so you can see and then take accountability for what it is you have to work on. Now, we've developed all types of clever defense mechanisms, such as saving face, which should be really renamed to saving the mask. Again, this defense mechanism has its root in early developmental experiences. As children, we learn that unconditional acceptance is scarce, and the internalization of a perfect image of ourselves becomes essential to secure external validation. The mask, then, is not a deliberate lie, but an unconscious construction, a necessary illusion to bridge the gap between how we wish to be seen and the vulnerabilities we fear will render us unlovable. Now, this manifests in our avoidant types. Many avoidants feel like they're not enough, right? Because the emotional spectrum was shut down in the household that they were raised in. So the dismissive avoidance has a sense of, I'm defective in some way, right? The anxious preoccupied has always had to perform, has always had to tap dance and soft shoe to try to get the attention of a primary caregiver that was not always attuned. So they take that performance style, right, into their adult relationships. And then our beautiful, fearful avoidants have both of those issues going on, both of those wounds. And the pendulum is constantly swinging back and forth. But relationship in and of itself, regardless of what insecure attachment style you have or what personality issue you may have, whatever, right? Everything is on a spiritual spectrum. And I believe that if you endeavor courageously, right, to go inward, you could heal a lot of things. When we come forward, Zoe Williams, the voice of reason, will keep cooking. Hey, Nazarene, I see you. I'm looking in the window right now. I see you. Let me ask you a question. I want you guys to be honest. Be honest. Deadly honest, okay? What are your thoughts? Do topics like this intimidate you? Do they cause you not to open up? Well, you guys are regulars. You guys are stone cold regulars. Scrap Trap Gaming, that's the name. You love listening to it, or do you love participating? Because oftentimes it's one thing to be able to sit back and listen. It's another thing to say, this is who I am. Right? This is what's wrong with me. Does that make sense? Attila, let me see if I send him all the videos, because he said he's out of videos.
Yeah, you sent 7.
Yeah.
One of them was just like a ad for some phone or something like
Which
that.
one was that?
That's what I'm saying. I ain't no telling what video it was.
Ah,
But
got
the
it.
YouTube video was actual ad.
Got it. Okay. No, we good. No, he said one of the videos I sent him. Oh, the order is always different. Because sometimes I'll send from bottom to top. Sometimes I'll go through them and pick one and say, play this first. The order is always going to be different. So can I get one more caller to support Nazarene X? 1 or 2 callers? Tomorrow's Friday. What up, G? I appreciate it. Ain't a number love, Neff. Mm, 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 mm. Come on, the song is on point.
Starts off in the very first paragraph of the first page of the book with what I believe is the core concept that she continues to give you practices and tools and tips and ideas throughout the whole book. She talks about how, and I'll just quote her here, we already have everything we need. There is no need for self-improvement. Which is kind of interesting, right? Because you're listening to this podcast, I do this work because I believe in self-improvement. So why is she saying that? She goes on to say, all these trips that we lay on ourselves, the heavy-duty fearing that we're bad and hoping that we're good, the identities that we so dearly cling to, the rage, the jealousy, the addictions of all kinds, never touch our basic wealth. So here's the key point that I want you to hear. She goes on to say they are like clouds that temporarily block the sun, but all the time our warmth and brilliance are right here. This is who we are. We are one blink of an eye away from being fully awake. I mean, think about that, right? If you're brought up Western, Christian, Jewish, like, even if you're not brought up with any religion at all and you're in this culture, this makes no sense to us, right? Because everything we need is out there, right? Most of us learned that there was a God, it was out there. We pray to it. We are, less than. We need to have forgiveness and
repent for our sins. And again, this isn't about the religion to me at all. I've never, ever wanted to get into that topic. But it's such a profound idea if you start to think, what if you have everything you need right now? What does that even mean? What is she talking about?
She's saying you are everything you need. Self-discovery leads to self-acceptance. Self-acceptance leads to self-realization. Dr. David R. Hawkins frames it quite differently. When he's talking about the ego, he'll talk about you, the persona, the personality. He'll say that is the little self. Self with a small s. He says when you're talking about your true self, it is self with a capital S. In much the same way as Western theologians will say the English version of Psalms 82:6, where it says, I have said ye are gods, initially or almost instantaneously, our pastors, especially black pastors, say that's God with a little g. Right? Your ego is the little g version of you. When you become self-actualized, that's when you become the capital G, because you're in alignment with what Christ was saying. For those who believe on me, I give you the power to do even greater things than I. I of myself can do nothing. It is the Father who works through me. Do you understand? The West Africans understood this concept as well. They called it the Ori. What is the Ori? It means head. And they believe that it is this etheric connection that connects you to Oludumare, the highest manifestation of God. All of these belief systems tie together. You've been down here identifying yourself with the little g, which is born out of the modeling that you got in childhood, whether it was toxic or relatively benign. And you think that's who you are. Let me get my caller in here. Nazarene X, Atlanta, Georgia. What are your thoughts on the topic tonight?
I'm so glad to be on the line with you, Linus, this evening.
Hey, nephew. Come on, nephew. Talk to me, man.
So, I know earlier what came to mind, kind of in a funny way, but real to the point, kind of in tune with the Bible, in that sense was just like, I was thinking about that original story of, Adam and Eve and all of that. Mm-hmm. It's the fall of man and all of that. Mm-hmm. And I was looking at it real quick just in relation to tonight's topic. I was like, oh, so yeah, Adam was y'all like trying to save face and God, because he was like, oh, it was the girl you gave me.
The woman you gave me. He's saving face. Right. He was really blaming God in that quote. Listen, had you not given her to me, I wouldn't have never touched that fruit. You did that, God.
I judged the tree by the look. You said
right.
All of that is like, you know what I mean? I think that's relevant to the essence of what saving face is. Mm-hmm. Because one, I believe that looking at it in that lens or what have you, like I believe it helps us see who we really need to be concerned with, even to that point of where you're just speaking of the Christ consciousness, like God within, mm-hmm. that through line that you have with your Creator, like the ultimate true authority, if you will, the head of your being, your consciousness, your mindset, your decisions, all of that. Mm-hmm. And I think what we end up doing, apparently, like through trauma and this and the third, we end up trying to, like you were saying, to the point of a mask, like, we try to save a face that ain't even ours for real. Ooh. And that's the same thing. So, I don't mean for it to be like repetitive, you feel me? Because the bell ring has been rung on this side, and it's just like, I get tired of kicking that horse, because now it's like, all right, clearly we're dealing with some type of false accusation. Mm. Because if we ain't got the smoke for God, don't let it dissipate after that. Like, shout out to the bro, Pastor John and all of that. Like, it could be smokeless fire, but like, man, if you got smoke,
don't be bold enough to be like, oh, well, God, you gave me this girl, but then, like, you ain't going to go stomp on that head of the serpent until it bruise your head, like the word say. Because that's part of your quote-unquote punishment, too, right? Like, when we look at it like it's, yeah, I'm trying to just follow through for real and not get caught up in anything else.
But you know what I'm hearing right now from my nephew out of Atlanta?
What's that wrong?
You are embracing the process of being a work in progress. And it seems like you are now getting comfortable with first being flawed, right? Because oftentimes we fight against fight against seeing ourselves as flawed. Because if we see ourselves as flawed, we automatically equate the flaw to being not enough. Do you see what I'm saying? And it seems like as I listen to you, like you're getting to a space where you're like, I'm okay with being flawed, with being in the process of accepting and healing and knowing that this is not an overnight, one exercise kind of, endeavor. This is something I'm going to be doing for the rest of my life. And I can hear that in the way that you're framing your thought around this. What are your thoughts on what I'm saying here?
I accept what you say always, and listening, it'll bring me right back to that same point of, I don't want to be repetitive, because to that effect, that part has been solidified, and what I'm trying to conquer currently still. So, like, if this is my phase, it's like, you have self-respect, you care about yourself, you serve a purpose, yet in embodying and experiencing the surrender part, I'm more into, like, it really ain't even about me. Like, I don't give a crap about the quote-unquote me part of it, but that's part of what healing has brought me. So it's also a war in that sense, or a consistent ongoing battle or navigation, if you will, in the healing process, because I'm a stickler of words, I guess you would say too. I feel honored that you would have that observation, and I appreciate that, because without Christ, that's all it is to it. Right. Like in terms of word, without a head or at least self-consciousness, love is really nothing else to it from what I've embraced or what have you. So that's what I feel to what you're saying. Is just like, it's kind of old new, but it's like, what is it about me anyway? You know what I mean? That's kind of like my angle question, and might even go to the saving face. I ain't got no face to save if it ain't looking like love, or like someone that's flawed, or like someone that's quote unquote whatever the case is. And I'm more of like, whoever has a false accusation, I want to take in my daddy crib, I'm gonna take your head off.
Nephew, guess what you just did? Hey, you brought Atlanta in the building. Nephew was cooking when we come forward. We're going to Houston, Texas. Let's see what they got to say. Nazarene, boy.
To the 100 million people who owe the IRS money, this message is for you. We've helped tens of thousands of people close the door on their taxes. So if you feel like you're stuck in a hole with IRS tax debt,
he cooked up. Nazarene,
to qualify for a no-pay or low
you know my standard, Nazarene. Boy, hey.
Once and for all.
You know my standard, right? This one of them ones. You know I ain't gonna give you that.
As a maintenance specialist,
this one of them ones, man.
College students can major in wear and tear. Plus, housing so many students doesn't leave a lot of room
Salute.
to house all the supplies he needs. That's where Grainger comes in. With over 1 million industrial-grade products and fast, dependable
Salute.
Grainger carries
this one of them ones.
So he doesn't have to. From a new door hinge to a
Troy, your uncle taught you how to kiss.
Or just stop by.
How do they find their way in here?
During tax season, your info travels lots of places you can't control.
Somebody delete that.
Everything criminals need
what
to
the world
is on your W-2.
Last call for accountant at home office. 1 minute.
LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points per second.
Text preparation data centers.
The mini water bottle.
All aboard.
Hey,
Identity is stolen.
after I had that sneeze attack, it was Andy. Andy said, "Let me get this nigga some water."
Visit lifelock.com. Terms apply. Financial Group is not a law firm. If you own a timeshare, don't miss this public service announcement from Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group.
If you receive an unsolicited phone call or mailpiece to discuss selling, renting, or especially canceling your timeshare, don't fall for it. If you really want to
Don't fall for it.
hang the phone up immediately.
Hang the
or
phone.
Throw that mailpiece in the trash and contact your timeshare resort or Wesley Financial Group for assistance with your
Oh, I played all of that. I'm sorry. Bro, your style and vibe is nice. Respect. So no more clips, right? No more clips? No more clips? All right, cool. Ladies and gentlemen, the records have been flowing tonight. Shower together. Come on, we've been in here lathering with logic. I'll wash your body, wash your whole spirit on the voice of reason. This is a spirit shower. What in the world? We in here cooking. You understand me? I love it, man. I love having these types of conversations, man. Hey, Teddy, man. My playlist is my co-host. The whole playlist has been on fire tonight. Woo! Let me get my final caller in here tonight. Attila from Houston, Texas. Attila, what are your thoughts on tonight's topic?
Tio! Okay, so real quick, I wanted to address a comment that was made in the chat. I thought you might find it interesting. So Jack Brazen wrote, once you're fully arrived or self-realized, I don't see the need for a counterpart. At that point, they're just someone to point out your flaws. I thought this was real interesting.
Wait, what? What did he say? Say it one more time.
He's basically saying that, like, once you're self-actualized, you don't need a partner because that person is just there to point out your flaws. Which is interesting because I kind of, when I read it, I thought, well, if I'm self-actualized, I don't care. I'm not really thinking about that. Like, because I'm aware. I'm self-aware, right? So I know what my flaws are. You wouldn't be telling me something I don't already know. Mm-hmm. So why would that bother me?
And
but
then
that's the saving faith.
And then the question also arises, if you're self-actualized, do you have any flaws?
That is a question.
I mean, I don't, I think that's a question. I think that's a fair question, right?
I feel yes. Because, I mean, to be aware of something or objective about something doesn't mean it doesn't exist. It just means that I see it and I don't judge it.
Or
it's not there.
Or flaws live where unhealed, deep-seated issues and wounds live. What is perceived or defined as a flaw. Once you've transcended those flaws, do you see? So what it sounds like Jack did was he applied the old mind, the mind that was rooted in ego, the mind that was rooted in identity, in manipulation and gaslighting. He applied the old mind to a new consciousness level, and you don't carry that with you.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Like, that wouldn't even be, but then here's the other part. Because I'm like, that wouldn't even be an issue if I'm self-actualized. I'm not even, my mind is not there on flaws. But think about that last piece and what he said, where he says your partner, right, would basically be there to judge you, to point them out. And to me, when you're self-actualized, the partner that you attract would actually be the undergirding of your flaw. Like, they are strong where you're weak, and vice versa. Right? Like,
no.
You would help each other, right?
No. Because again, we're applying regular people with regular consciousness to what they call this super enlightened or if you've reached samadhi. Do you get what I'm saying? You've reached samadhi, you've reached moksha, you've reached these high levels of consciousness.
Like floating in the clouds.
So, do you see what I'm saying? If we go back to Dr. David R. Hawking's consciousness grid, right? If we go back to the consciousness grid, the top of the consciousness grid, oh my God, like, let's just go to the consciousness grid. Let's just see what's at the top of the consciousness grid, right? And when you see that, you'll understand, like, you're applying the old mind, right? The mind that is down there where grief, apathy, guilt, shame, fear, desire, anger, pride, all that stuff is down there. The lower levels of consciousness. When we get to the top level of consciousness, the very top level of consciousness, it says process, pure consciousness, God view, self with the capital S, view of life is, predominant emotional state, ineffable, without words is what ineffable means. I can't put it into words. Energetic log 700 to 1000. Now he applied his consciousness grid to Krishnamurti's work and Krishnamurti himself. He said Krishnamurti was at 600, which is peace, bliss, perfect, God view, all being, process, illumination. Do you see the adjectives used to describe these higher upper levels? He said the only people that have ever existed on planet Earth, this is Dr. David R. Hawking's work, author of Power versus Force. He said Buddha, Krishna, and Jesus are the only ones that were at 1000. Ineffable is self, pure consciousness, one with God. Do you see? So if you're rising to that level, you're not going to be like, yeah, I attracted somebody that's going to judge me. Knock it off.
Yeah, I'm not going to think about that at all. But then also, let me ask you this. So considering I and God are one, then me and my partner are one. There is no me and my partner. There's just one.
Right. God interacting with himself at a higher level. But
well, that's all I wanted to say.
That's another topic. That's a whole nother topic. Listen. Hey, Attila, guess what you just did?
All right, Houston in the building.
Houston, Texas is in the building because of Attila. Listen, today is my Friday. I appreciate everybody for tapping in. I start the conversations. You ain't got to agree, but you got to continue. And when I see you next week, I'm going to have 4 new slappers, and we're going to cook from Monday to Thursday once again. Let's get it. Love y'all. Gotta go. Deuces.